everyone.
Hi,
My name is M9.
and I'm Nixie, and this
And this is Out of Character. Hello, welcome back to the show. It's episode 15 of Out of Character. And just in case you're new around here, this is the podcast where we dive deep into the world of role-playing and all the things that have to do with it.
And we speak to players, server owners, modders, have discussions about topics that are important to the community.
Indeed. And one of those topics today, what is it, Nixie?
We're going to talk about every single app that you've ever will have to fill out. We'll have these two questions on it: metagaming and powergaming.
Metagaming and powergaming. Zerkon says she stole my joke.
It's true, though.
It is very true. It is something that we've all have come across time and again, and yet we still have to keep answering it time and again. Do you think it's important to bring up? Do you think it's common knowledge by now, or?
I feel like if you are entirely new to roleplay, then it just is a good way to show the person who owns the server that you have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
I've had a server. I had this question on my application. Funnily enough, this was before, when you Googled metagaming, it gave you a decent response. And the response it gave you had nothing to do with roleplay. So I could immediately tell who was someone who just Googled it and copy-pasted the answer, because it had nothing to do with roleplay.
Yeah. To me, it's one of those answers that it does annoy me having to answer over and over again, but I kind of know exactly what to say, and it's just one of those things that I guess it's like, let's just do this and move on, right? But I guess it is important for those people that are new to role-playing, and it's definitely something that if you don't know what it is, it'll make you stop and ask.
Mm-hmm.
And
because it's one of the, like you said, it's also something that gets broken even when you know the definition.
Yeah, it gets
People
broken
will
all the
continue
time.
to metagame and power game, always. Though I will say there's a very interesting difference in communities and how they define metagaming specifically.
Yeah, and different kind of lines that are crossed. So, okay, so let's start off with, what is metagaming, Nixie?
Metagaming is using information that you have learned via Discord, someone talking about it, a stream, literally anywhere except for in-game, and you utilize that information in-game to affect your character's actions.
Mm-hmm. Simple enough. Anything you learn OOC should not be used IC.
Take a drink. But, it's like one of those things that metagaming has different meanings per community from what I've noticed. Specifically moving from Arc to Conan.
Yeah, what do you think the difference has been?
Well, people in Arc were far more willing to put things on the Discord that helpful to you in game than people in Conan.
Right.
For example, I know this came up in a conversation recently. In Arc, you would come to a door of a town, call the bell, go onto Discord, say 2 people are at your gate, and people would react or come into the gate or whatever. But if telling that to anyone in the Conan community, they would say that's metagaming. He can't do that.
And it is in definition.
It is a definition, yeah.
But I think that there's times that metagaming and power gaming, and we'll get to power gaming in a little bit. But I think there's times that it's not harmful, and that it tends to, facilitate roleplay. And this is kind of the situation that we're talking about right now, is people going up to a kingdom or, a big house or whatever, and announcing their presence on Discord. that is definitely an OOC thing. You're actually stepping out of the game in order to do that. But it's there as a tool to facilitate roleplay and not waste anybody's time.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it's one of those things where metagaming, everyone does it.
mhm,
Like, let's be fair. Everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, will metagame
right.
every single character. Either by saying to somebody that you're online and you're ready for roleplay, literally meeting up with people in game because you know that there's stuff going on and you want to
Right.
go talk to people.
Or just telling somebody that you're about to hop on. Like that is
Uh-huh.
metagaming. but but yeah, it's not harmful metagaming. The I think the problem happens when metagaming is used as an advantage. And that is definitely where things get a little um complicated when it comes to the whole topic of metagaming.
Yeah, because what people will do is they'll start spreading rumors on information that they never heard in game, or
Mhm.
know things about characters because they heard someone talking about their character in Discord, or stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And I've been a victim of, or not a victim. I've been guilty of doing it accidentally
Metagaming
with
can be very accidental.
with information that like I thought was known, and, that I thought was known, but apparently it wasn't. And it's like I thought everyone knew that. Oh no, okay, well shit, you're right. I didn't know. Um, I'm sorry.
Or better yet, when you get told information that was metagamed and you don't know that it was
And
metagamed,
yeah,
and
exactly, and
now
then you
you
go
know
along
it.
with it because now it's just secondhand meta.
Yeah. And like those are some of the really difficult to talk about topics because what do you do with secondhand meta? I feel like every community's kind of got different ways of handling it,
hmm It does
either
suck.
by retconning information. It depends on how bad it gets, but if it's like really bad information that got metagamed, then sometimes you just gotta retcon it.
Yeah, sometimes it's what's necessary. Now, in when the topic with the topic of power gaming's a different horse in this race. What do you define
Technically,
power
it
gaming?
has two definitions. Power gaming does,
Mm-hmm.
and it just recently kind of started to be a lot more of a problem. But power gaming is either making your character super powerful and like
Mm-hmm.
immortal or unkillable, or forcing actions upon another person without giving them the opportunity to respond.
Yeah, and I think that there tends to be a blend between metagaming and power gaming sometimes with using game mechanics that you know will give you an advantage over other players. That is definitely power gaming and metagaming, you know.
Yeah.
um and you know the the whole thing of making your character invulnerable and you have an answer to everything and you don't have to answer to any, you know, of the actions or the things that you've done because you have an out for them. That is power gaming, and it is my least favorite thing about
Mm-hmm.
roleplay.
Power gaming can really make things difficult for everybody because once you run into those power gaming characters, there's just like nothing you can do because they set themselves up either with their groups so that they're everyone treats them better,
Hmm.
bigger than the everyone else.
Yeah.
um it's just so difficult because you have to keep a really close eye on it as an admin team,
Yep.
people trying to be power gaming.
Okay, and Taylor says here, scheduling is technically metagaming, which is something that we said, but IRL life happens, and I don't think worsens the RP. Exactly, I had someone tell me their character needs to meet my character for a whole reason. They told me. Then I said, well, I can be online at this time if you want. They were like, no, that's meta. What they don't know is that I was never logging into that server again. Uh,
See, that's
yeah,
the thing I've noticed in the Conan community specifically.
yeah.
Telling
No,
people you're gonna be online and they go, no, that's meta.
yeah, I think that see that I agree that that's okay. I feel
Yeah,
like that's
no.
okay. We did this in Arc as well, where we were like, I mean, it was more accepted in Arc, which is what Nixie said, when we were like setting up a kingdom meeting, and somebody would be like, "Oh no, you're probably sleeping at that time," or blah blah blah. And I think that that type of thing is okay because even though you are using information that doesn't pertain to our characters, um, some people will say I have nightmares, which I hate, but um, but it's something that's being used to not waste people's times. There's people like myself that sometimes got an hour or two a day to hop on. I don't want to, you know, disappoint anybody by not being on at any other time that they wanted to check on me or whatever. So sometimes it's just something you have to do.
The thing that, and I'm gonna well, here, let me read what Zeracon said.
Okay.
It's tough. There are very minor applications of both metagaming and power gaming that can be beneficial to a server, like bringing RP to someone that is struggling. The concern I find with most RPers, though, is that they don't have boundaries. For
Mm-hmm.
example, they see streamer A do a funny thing, and all of a sudden that funny thing is ran into the ground until it just gets out of hand. Like
Mm-hmm.
with the diet, moderation is okay, but excess quickly becomes the norm. So now, I don't view that as metagaming, though. I view that as bad roleplay. You see someone on a stream doing something funny and you emulate it, just that I don't see that as that's if you're utilizing what they did, like going somewhere and then meeting them there to influence your role play.
Yeah. Like the first time that I met Josh in Circa, Josh, aka Circa, I metagame my way to his to his
Yeah.
kingdom or to his thing, but that's because that's the person that I wanted to play with, and I think that it's okay. I think that it's okay when it's going to benefit your enjoyment, and now you're actually improving on server population because you're going to enjoy what you're doing. I think some people get so uh just uptight about no, you don't know the people that are playing. If you're rolling in and you don't have any history with that person, you don't know them, there's no reason why you should go straight to them. And that's like really like at the end of the day, we are playing a game. We do want to enjoy
Mhm.
ourselves, and I think you do have to kind of relax on some of these things when it gets out of hand, or like what you say, anything in moderation. When it gets out of moderation, or when it's um being used to hurt other players or to hurt the server story or to hurt just player enjoyment overall, then that's when it needs to be addressed.
It's one of those things that drives me crazy is when you can't talk about anything on a Discord without people shouting no metagaming. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that you're utilizing the information in any way, shape, or form. It's not that you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're not doing anything with that info. But I've literally, especially GTA, is really bad about this one. Um, Saying literally anything at a character or about your character on Discord will get you shouted down, RP it out.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
no metagaming, RP it out. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, the RP it out thing. It's like, okay, I get it. I just had a fucking question. Like,
I had a mechanical question about something I could not figure out. How do I ask what button I press to do this specific thing in character without sounding stupid?
yeah, or
Because
without
then
somebody
people
telling me to
also yell at
flex
you for
my
doing that.
fucking F muscle.
Yeah, like then people yell at you for saying that too, and you're like, which one do I ask out of character or do I ask in character? I can't figure this out.
You got to take a shot.
RP it out, man. I am asking about something that is out of character, though.
Oh, does this work? Find out in RP. Yep. Uh,
Yeah.
it's sometimes it is something that like what are the jobs in this city? Yeah, I mean you can probably just ask people in game like what there is to do, right?
Mm.
But also if it's something that is a feature of your server, if it's
Uh-huh.
something that is, you know, that should be learned outside of the game, then you shouldn't give people a hard time for asking questions, you know? Because I remember this the zombie server that I joined for 5M, and they didn't even have a Discord, or like you were okay to join the game, the server, but you had to get whitelisted for the Discord. And
Oh,
I'm like, what?
that's weird.
It
I had
was
a
it was
situation
interesting.
where I got ocean dumped, and someone asked me where I was in Discord for the past 10 minutes, and I couldn't tell them I got ocean dumped because they took that instantly later that day.
Oh God.
Is that Atlas? Yeah, being ocean dumped. I
I'm
feel like
guessing
that's a.
5M by saying city.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just one
Um,
of those things that metagaming, in my opinion, and this is a hot take, I guess, as long as you are not using it in a harmful way
mm-hmm.
to negatively affect other people's roleplay or the server roleplay, he gotta admit everyone does it. Like you even said, like
Yeah.
how many times you to go message your friends saying, "Hey, meta no meta."
Yep. I've said that, but I've trying to lighten the mood by by making "don't meta me" part of my vocabulary. Like
uh,
I just say that all the time, even IRL. Like my
don't meta
wife would
me.
make a comment, I'm like, "Don't meta me." Like it's like because you have to try to lighten up on that a little bit. Because at the end of the day, I don't remember who it was that said it in the comments. I'm sorry that I think it was Zaracon. We are here to RP. And if there's anything that will facilitate RP, then I don't see what the harm is.
Or even just I mean, accepting that it's going to be a thing,
Right, exactly.
and taking a like it's on the admin team if it gets out of hand. If you
Yeah.
start seeing people blatantly metagaming in ways that are like don't no like way too out
Yeah.
of line.
One of
You
the
know, I mean, even just calling somebody your sister or brother is technically metagaming. Then, if that's
right.
the case,
One
like
of the worst things for me is like in 5M is everybody hanging out in a call. And it's like
I'm being silent in game.
yeah, it's like, where are you? Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, okay. We're doing, we're robbing a bank later. So like everybody's on a on a Discord call, and everybody's just talking about the bank robbery. And then it's like, dude, oh, the cops are coming. What? Like all this shit can be
Yeah,
talked in game. Like what are we doing? And I feel
it's
like 5M is so guilty of that.
the other thing that is a no for me is if you are in game and say you're getting ready for a big event or you're getting together in one big group to go out somewhere and
Hmm.
everyone's sitting in a Discord call talking to each other before they head out for roleplay. And there's the one person in your group, and this has happened to me. There's the one person in your group who isn't in that Discord call,
Yeah.
and you're sitting there surrounded by people, and it's dead silent
Ugh,
because
it's
all of
awful.
them are talking in Discord.
Hmm.
I'm not going to point fingers at anybody
No,
server wise,
doesn't
but
sound like you're
it
salty
has
at all.
it has happened to me. And I ended up jumping into that Discord call going, "Why the fuck aren't we RPing?" I was so mad.
I get that. I feel like the only time that that's acceptable, and there's just, oh boy, I feel like that the only time that's acceptable is early on when you're trying to get settled in, and you're building, and everybody's just farming, that type of thing. And even then, you have to keep it limited,
Yeah.
because then you get used to doing that. You get like people
My
start farming,
favorite
people
thing to
start doing that.
do is you're
Mm.
farming and you're talking to people in game like, what
Yeah,
else
it's
do we
freaking
need? And
awesome.
like it's one of those things it's just it makes me so salty when you're in a
Yeah.
group of people and or you're say you're an admin on a server and you're flying around looking for role play and you come up to a town and there's a bunch of people in it and no one's saying a word and you go, I think something's wrong here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
We have a couple of comments here. Um, so Rod says, another problem I have is gang wars. I'd be gone for a day or two, and they say we're in a gang before I even get into the city. Yeah.
I
that
feel like when you're joining a gang, that's something that you gotta RP out. Like,
mhm,
specifically gangs. I don't know if it's just me, but like if you're gonna go get, go get initiated, that's part of the role play, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Do you
Then
want to read
Taylor
Taylor's?
asked how to even prove someone was using meta info. I played a character that eavesdropped on a ton of people and gave information to my bosses. Never has someone called me out, but I did have a ton of info that shouldn't have been public. I mean, that's one of those things. If people think you're metagaming
They need
and
to
they're
prove it.
worried about it, they can always open a ticket and ask, and then the
Right.
admins could go, "Hey, where did you learn that information?" And you tell them where you learned it, and they go, "Okay." Then they go back to that person who was concerned and say it wasn't metagaming.
Yep, I played a character, specifically Zarad, that was kind of on nobody's side, but also on everybody's side, and he used to just tell information to the angels about the demons and the demons about the angels. He used to just say whatever the hell he wanted, and um, and I was never called out for meta, but it can get very interesting if for any reason somebody thinks you know something you shouldn't, and especially if you're playing a type of a double agent character, you know, there's always going to be that doubt. But as long as you're being true to yourself and they're not calling you out for meta, then at that point they just kind of have to prove that you meta because it's your word against theirs. And I'm sure that if you found this out in character, then they're not going to be able to prove it otherwise.
And even if all you have to, if they do get like an ad report say, I think they're metagaming, you go, I was actually sitting on the roof next to them and they were outside.
Right.
Like then they, like Ericon said, metagaming is probably the least punished rule on all RP servers
Uh-huh.
because it's just so difficult to prove on either side. It takes a lot of admin time to track it down, generally being inconclusive. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now,
It's so hard to catch people
I
metagaming.
think as a counter argument, I think that there is a place for meta in power gaming, and in certain situations, for me specifically, when a server is ran by, or like the server story is done by like the admins, when you think about like D&D, the DM metas everything. um and I think you have to realize that if admins are running a story, then I think it should be okay for them to spy on people to get an idea, as long as it's within the story and it's not just to be dickheads. But we had, and Nixie probably also has the examples. We went through, and we had admin story that they stalked us, they said certain things, and in order to increase that intensity and increase the story, like I actually gave information to the
Also did
admins.
I, yeah. I
And
messaged an admin with my story.
yeah, and it was completely OOC, but it was like, listen, if you're playing fear, you would know this about my character. And I think that that's where people kind of, you know, get a little bit of a misunderstanding, is like you need to facilitate RP. It's the same thing. And for if admins as this type of god character or whatever it might be, if they would know something, then there's not a reason that they shouldn't.
Yeah. Or like, how like you're talking about in that situation, if I hadn't have said some of those stuff, doubt wouldn't have had a lot to say
Mm-hmm.
to get at my character, but they did.
Yeah. And it was amazing. And it was amazing storytelling. It was amazing RP. And it wouldn't
It
have
was so
been
much
as
fun.
intense if we just didn't give a little bit. And that is meta. And when you think about like an admin using admin powers or whatever to play out a story, like we had when Fear kidnapped us and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Technically, that is power gaming. Um, because they're teleporting us from this place to that place, but because we were involved in the story and because we were just part of it and taking and giving all along,
Taking part, yeah.
then then that type of thing is okay because technically we agreed to it by being part of it.
Mhm. Zericon says if the purpose of a minor metagaming is to find or promote RP, then I'm okay with it. But if you use it to power game, gathering info to use against someone else or to chase streamer clout is something that's where the line is. Now, streamer clout, I feel like if you're on a server that's got a lot of streamers or one big streamer on that server, I go nuts when people start chasing down streamers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just. I've been on servers that were server for streamers before, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Everyone who isn't a streamer gets treated like an NPC. It's just like.
Yeah, it gets really wishy-washy and a bit
Yeah.
kind of like favoritism starts to show up very
And that's
easily.
where the metagaming from an admin is not good, because then they start giving people who are streamers all of the stuff. Streamers and me don't get along, even though we're streaming this. I used to stream too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, admins, they're gonna do what they can. They're gonna metagame the crap out of you. They're gonna listen to you while they're invisible to see what you're up to. Like, I just expect that. I hope for that most of the time.
Yeah, same.
I
Anything
hope that there's
for the
someone watching
story.
my sad soppy RP sitting on a rock having real talk time.
Flying around. Uh-huh. Zeracon. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to that, right? Does it facilitate RP or does it hurt RP? Does it facilitate and make an experience enjoyable for players, or does it hurt players' enjoyment and, their likeliness of actually logging in? That is where those two things kind of
Yeah.
have that
Now
boundary.
with power gaming though, I feel like there's a lot less leeway,
Yeah.
because this the definitions of power gaming, because there's two. I wish there was a different one, like, to separate the two
Yeah,
definitions of power
I
gaming.
I agree. Like I had this experience where I requested a player admin meeting because one of the people in my kingdom was power gamed, and I was like, I don't like that, and they're not willing to say anything, but I am. I'm the king
Yeah.
of the Vale, and so this example was somebody else from a different kingdom thought they were like hot shit, and they were kind of going around fucking with everybody, which is okay. You do what you
Mhm.
do, but they went up to this keep of they were a banner house of mine, and they nailed that guy's hand to the table, and
Ugh.
basically it was just them emoting it in the chat saying grabs his hand, nails it onto the table, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
That no.
I was like, no, 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 I'm not okay with that. And then the server owner, which was like, the king of the seven kingdoms at that point, I was like, what if I went up to you and just said, slices your neck open?
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that? Would you accept that? And he was like, no, you're completely right. It's not okay.
Yeah.
And then
Now, sometimes people get out of character permission,
right.
but that is a completely different story, because then you if you know that it's out of character permission, like, I've been kidnapped before in character, but I gave them permission well in advance. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it was happening, and I set my character to be at the right spot at the right time to get kidnapped. Like, I got thrown in a cage and they're doing all this shit, and I was like, "Yep, this is what I signed up for."
Yeah,
Like,
and Zircon says attempt is a pretty nifty word. And I think that word goes so far, and it's sometimes not even used when it should,
mhm.
because that makes the difference between you power gaming me or you introducing a situation, you know,
Yeah.
introducing an attempt, introducing some type of thing. Um, and
He said the magic words, Doug9. Can I talk about it?
yes, go ahead.
Text based RP.
Mm-hmm.
I've been nostalgia as fuck for some text-based RP today. And I will say, metagaming is hey, you nerd. I've been talking to some old friends from text-based RP today, guys, and I missed it so much. But metagaming and power gaming in those situations are completely different as well. Because metagaming is using information that you read from another post that you're not involved in.
Yeah.
Power gaming is so much easier to get away with because you can say like they move slightly in a way they didn't say, and that's power gaming. You can't do that, and you have to. Sometimes you have to end your post a little early because you're like, I attempt to shove you, or he attempted to shove her against the wall or whatever, and then you're like, oh shit, now I gotta wait for them to respond to that.
And I feel like that can get very complicated real quick. Like I was doing a play-by-post D&D campaign, and if there's anything that you miss or that you thought was like a given, but it wasn't, then the story can go sideways real quick. And it could be seen as power gaming. Like you could be like, no, I knew he was coming this way. My character would have dodged. And it's like, okay, but nobody said that, So
the most I ever saw was getting permission in the chat. Just be like, hey, can I have you do this?
Yeah. So I can see
to help
where
keep the post going.
Like a play-by-post where something that's not live could get even more complicated. But
yeah.
I want to touch on Zeracon says he doesn't know how to use the Conan RP mod dice sheet. And I think we might have to make a full episode on like dice systems in video games, because I gotta be honest, I don't think that they're used efficiently, or they're not used very often. Also, my jaw popped. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Oh no, I don't. The Conan dice sheet though is very interesting to me because it's not something that you've had on other games.
Right.
Like GTA and Ark did not have the dice sheet. You kind of, if you wanted dice, you went and did your own shit. Like.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an interesting utilization of randomness, but I don't.
It's hard to implement.
It's not only it's hard to implement, it's hard to. I have problems with randomness affecting outcomes in roleplay.
Yeah.
Because if you're in it for the D&D, most of the randomness is going to be like, how did you hit? How much damage did you do? Which, yeah, okay, that could be random. But to say that I'm really good at something and I have specced all my shit into what I'm really good at, but I rolled a 1. And now I've sucked it up for no reason because I accidentally rolled a 1.
Yeah.
And now I have to face the RP consequences of a random dice roll.
Also, to kind of add on top of what you're saying, if there's one thing that I hate is when one player is like rolling for medical or whatever the hell, or magic, to heal somebody. And then they get a good roll, and then the next person kind of undoes that roll by doing their own. Like
they
how
to
effective
the roll.
Yeah, like how effective was this healing on me? No, that's not the way rolling works. That person just had a good roll. That means they get to heal you.
Yeah,
and
I've seen
it
that a
sucks.
lot.
And I've seen the same type of RP that like somebody went through a bunch of medical RP and it ended up being all good, and then the next day the person's like, oh no, I'm still not doing great, like I need to be seen again. And it's like, so it's undoing roleplay, and it really bothers me.
It's one of those things where people like to get the attention of getting medical RP when they're getting it. My thing that I hate is when they extend it so much that no one else can get their attention because they're on the brink of death forever. even though they're getting all of these great rolls and
Yeah.
nothing is going wrong and everyone's good,
Yeah.
they're still almost dying.
It's
And
so
you're like, would
much.
you just stop dying?
So
You
I
know what
see.
you can do right now? Stop dying.
Stop dying. I see Lilith in the chat, and she was doing a lot of medical RP the last time that I was playing 5M. And the things that I would see, I don't know how they put up with. Like, I don't know how somebody is coming in, getting shot, getting, like, wounded. I swear to God,
GTA is
I
so
would have
bad.
pulled their plug on somebody. I would have been like, oops.
GTA, I laugh so hard because, in my opinion, GTA servers are actually in a magical realm of their own because
Oh, yeah. Yep.
healers can heal anything multiple times forever. What's that? You got shot in the head and left in the desert for dead? Let me just patch you up. Here you go. And you're shooting people the next day. Like,
It's
what?
so bad. It is so bad. But like I don't I don't know. But to go back on the role system, it's definitely it's complicated to implement, right? Because not everyone is familiar with like a rolling system. Um I do like to I do like to throw, especially in Conan, I like to throw rolls in there every now and then, but I don't rely on rolls for my RP. For me, I make my own choices. If I want a story to go one way or I want a story to go the other way, or something will introduce more interesting roleplay, then I just make that choice myself. There are times though that I
Yeah.
like just being silly. I'll be like, I'm gonna roll, like when I was like,
I
how
do
many
it
kids do
very
you think they got?
rarely.
And then she's like, let's roll a
Four.
1d6.
Four.
Four.
Um no, what I like to do with rolling specifically is I just blanked on what I was gonna say. Um wow, I blanked. Go on, sorry. I was thinking about rolling.
You were thinking
Oh,
about rolling?
I was thinking
Roll a
about rolling and then
history
I
check.
lost it.
Maybe you'll remember.
Oh, the one time I remember using it, this is what I was gonna say. The one time I
Hmm.
remember using it to good effect was willpower roll for how my character was able to keep in her emotions when she was losing it.
Yes.
Thing happened in roleplay that my character was like actually shaking because shit was going down, but I had to keep it in because if I didn't, people were gonna start asking really like really bad questions. Some shit was gonna happen. So I rolled willpower to see how well she keep her cool because I was like, I don't
No,
know,
and
can she keep her cool? I don't
yeah,
know.
and that kind of thing is great, right? Because it also kind of introduces a bit of like um spontaneousness to your
Yeah,
role
she
play.
she didn't keep her cool, by the way.
I remember there was
She
one
ended
that
up
I was
leaving the
role
room.
playing that like, got like bit by a vampire. She was going through like the transition, and like for her it was like a willpower type of thing, and that works so good because it's something that it's things that are not exactly under your control, right? But I think I remember when I played a werewolf the first time, what I used to do as well was I used to get people's permission and say my wolf knows exactly what you smell like. Is it okay if I can roll to find you? You know?
Yeah,
And some people will be like, nah, I don't really like that. And I'll be like, all right, that's fine. Some people would be like, yeah, I mean, we're together all the time. Like a werewolf would know exactly how to find me.
yeah,
And so I would roll, and if I didn't get a good roll, I'd be like, I don't pick up a good scent, that type of
yeah.
thing.
Which for those kind of things, you kind of need their cooperation
For sure.
anyway,
Yep.
because they need to tell you where they're at.
And that's the type of meta that works.
Yes, then going back around to the metagaming, it's one of those things that facilitated the roleplay
Mm-hmm.
because metagaming can facilitate roleplay in very interesting ways. Now, what I find funny is things that we do in roleplay on Conan or ARC or GTA, any of it that's considered metagaming is like standard day-to-day practice in 4MRP.
Right. Yeah.
What's that? You want to have a conversation with someone? You got to talk to the meta character to start the thread. Like,
Exactly.
like how else are you gonna start talking?
Lilith says tracking is
Yeah.
okay with consent. Yeah, exactly. I will just make sure people were okay with it, and only if it was an ability that my character had, obviously.
Yeah. I'm gonna read up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even roll to let my vampire girlfriend charm me because I thought it'd be fun RP in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you feel like rolling is good for when you decide to use it. It's like that episode of Big Bang Theory where Sheldon uses a D20 to determine every outcome of his life. It's okay for him. It's not great when you use rolling to stop the roleplay. Yeah.
I've used the 1d20 IRL for shit. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll be like, evens this, odds this. Fuck it, let's do it.
I think we've all kind of
Yep,
sometimes the dice roll just helps.
it does. It
Make
just takes
important
responsibility
decisions.
off your shoulder.
Puts it onto randomness, and there you go. Everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be surprised what people will agree to as well if you just approach them mostly politely. Lots of folks are happy to start a story path. I put my
Yes,
characters
Zarkon.
chaotically. If the dice is up, it's their time to go, then it's time for a nat one.
Yeah, I had somebody that I was role playing with that like every time she got hurt, she rolled to see if she lived or not, and
Oh.
it was it was a
Oh.
lot of anxiety for me.
I role play in these settings because I want
So I
control of
do.
my role play. I I want to be able to say this is the direction my character is going.
Exactly.
If I want randomness in it, I'll employ roll dice.
Yeah, I think I like to
but-
lean on more on the things that I feel would be more random, like things that are not exactly under my control.
Mhm.
But if it's a decision my character is making, then me as my character, I should know how to make that decision.
Yeah. Like, and I've spec my character, or I know my character's good at something. Why am I letting random fate determine that I can't do that thing
Right,
now?
exactly. And I think
That
that
drives
that,
me nuts.
that kind of sucks sometimes when it comes to like medical RP or when it comes to anything like that. It's like, bro, you're an expert at this. Why are you rolling a dice hoping you like or willing to get a one or a crit fail? Like, no.
Yeah. Like, what are you expecting to get? A 20? Then what changes? You just did it.
You just did it. Yeah.
You're honestly
did it
just rolling to
real
see how
good.
bad you didn't do it, or you did it, not how good you did it.
Yeah. Like those stitches were fucking perfect.
But what, like, because if you're rolling for stuff like that, really what you're rolling for is to see if you fail, right?
Exactly.
Because succeeding is just succeeding, and especially in Conan, in D&D, obviously there's different things with critting and all that stuff, but in like Conan, if you're rolling to see if you fail.
It's a yes or no. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I do good or not?
You could
If I
definitely
did
just
really good,
roll,
you go,
like,
I did it
flip a
really good.
Yep. But
But then, like you said, sometimes people like to roll after you and undermine what you just rolled, which is
no.
fun.
Yeah, drives me crazy. I applied that bandage so damn tight.
Apply that damage. The only time you want to roll a dice for something you're good at is when it's a contested roll, like deception versus insight. You can assume you're both equally good at the thing, but who is better right now?
Yes, Taylor. I agree with that.
Yeah, but some people will just like
But the
how
problem,
well did I do that bandage?
yeah, but the problem also comes with, and perhaps we do need to make an episode of it. I don't think it's wide knowledge. Like, just because somebody role plays doesn't mean they're familiar with a rolling system. Especially because it's still fairly new to Conan, and not everyone uses it.
Mm-mm.
So, if it's going to be, more and more accepted, then it's something people have to learn how to, like what you're saying, contest or go against or agree with or roll with. It's just, I don't think it's a wide enough understanding of the system on its own to be effective, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think if you really want to utilize it well, the server would have to have some good like boundary set or something, like a how to do this.
Right. Right. I think like the way that I've seen it used effectively is for things like an arc where you're, trying to bond with a dragon. You roll for that, you know. And if not, either the
Yeah.
dragon fucking kills you or you just don't bond. That type of thing. It's used very effectively. But when it's like live RP, it's very difficult.
It is, yeah. It's just one of the things. I don't know how we got onto the conversation of dice roll for meta and power gaming, but it's kind of how this podcast goes, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else to say on metagaming or power gaming though?
I don't know. I think we've said everything that that's metagaming. They saw your
They saw my dice roll result.
yeah. But also the fact when somebody does try to overdo your role with their role, that's also like power, meta and power gaming. It's just not right. And
I feel like it's power gaming to overdo with
yeah,
someone else's role, because then you're kind of throwing their what they just did off, right?
yeah, it's just like why?
It's essentially saying you did really good. No, you didn't.
Like you are really good at healing, but I'm really bad at being cured. Like what?
It's so true though.
Like what the hell? No.
I'm just in a really I'm that bad. Like I'm that bad that you're amazing. I'm like, then why are you still alive?
Yeah. You're the best surgeon in the whole city or state or whatever, but I'm just, I have thin blood.
Yeah.
Like, what the
I
fuck?
have a clotting disease that makes it so I just continuously bleed for hours. No,
Oh, boy.
no healing for me. Sorry.
Yeah, and I remember the type of like role play that Lilith used to do with her partner and stuff, and it was amazing. Like they went through so much detail and they learned so many things, and people would just kind of like, nope. And there were so many times that I'm like, just let them die, fuck it.
Yeah, like sorry. Like I think that she mentioned they they were dying like 5 times on the table, and they said
Yep.
if it happened again, then they wouldn't revive him, and then he didn't do it.
Yeah. I would yeah, I would have just been like, oops, it looks like I dropped a fucking scalpel inside you.
I have a three go rule. If you die 3 times on the table, I'm not reviving you for the fourth.
Yeah.
Just put
That's
that on
good.
a sign on the wall. If you
I
die
like
three
that. If
times,
you
you're
die
dead.
3 times, you're dead. 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah. That's metagaming.
That is meta. That is metagaming. But yeah, I don't know that I have anything else. Actually, the fact that we talked almost a full hour, I was completely wrong. I
He doubted me,
I
guys.
said I don't think we're gonna have that long of an episode talking about power gaming and metagaming, but then
I
you
said, "Do you know who I am?"
yeah, and then you start remembering all of the shit people try to get away with,
Yeah.
and yeah, and here
So
we
we could
are.
take the last 5 minutes here to plug all of our shit, because if you're listening to this, maybe you know that we have a Discord.
Yeah,
Maybe you know that we have a YouTube, or we are located on Spotify if you missed the stream and wish to or rewatch old videos if you missed one in the past. You can check out our links at our link tree. It
yeah,
also links to our personal, like, we stream on his. I also have one. I don't stream though because
yeah.
I'm lazy.
At some point, we might just make one dedicated for the show,
Yeah.
but we'll see how that goes. And guys, if you don't know about our Discord, we have a really cool directory of all of different games and RP servers for you to check out. Whether and we kind of put a little description on each one, and to see if you're interested in joining. There's a big directory and it includes 5M, Arc, uh, Conan,
Conan, Red Dead. There's
Red
some
Dead.
Atlas. There's even like if you are looking to join a tabletop game,
Mm-hmm.
there's a spot for you. We are gonna have more stuff. I swear, I'm writing stuff. I promise.
Yeah,
Um,
we're also
for
working
tips
on
and
the
tricks on
tips and
roleplay.
tricks. Correct.
Stuff like that. It's gonna keep expanding. We're gonna have stuff. We're just a little busy with some other projects right now that
Mm-hmm.
will be revealed at a later date. Um, that will be going up. But once we get really going, the Discord already has a lot of people on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, way more than I ever expected. I was shocked
Yeah,
how many
it's
people
exciting.
flooded into the Discord. So come over there, chat whenever you want. It's kind of a hub. We're trying to make it a hub.
Where's the
Where's
merch?
the merch?
Eventually, we're
I
probably
want to
gonna have
I
to come.
role play with myself t-shirt
We
so
are gonna do
bad.
the I role play with myself.
Because
Sure.
I want it so bad.
But yeah, check it out, guys. We have a lot of
Oh my
plans.
goodness.
Oh my goodness, we have a lot of plans for things to do as a community as well. So that's going to be exciting whenever we get to that. And yeah,
We're gonna
so
have movie nights,
movie
game
nights.
nights, possibly
Mhm.
like game like where we open up like little servers for people to play.
Yeah.
We're taking suggestions for guests. We take suggestions for topics. So if you want to get more involved, if you know someone who you'd like to be involved, send them our information.
Yep.
They can
Whether
DM
that's like
us. They
on
can open a ticket.
video game role play, or like tabletop, or any kind of
Literally
game.
any role play.
Hmm.
In fact, if you know someone who does role play that is in a very niche topic, send them to me.
Like
I'd like to talk to
LARPing. I want to talk to somebody that does LARPing.
them. But like, if you know someone who does like, role play in weird places, strange servers, anything, I like. We want to talk to them. We want them on the
Hmm.
podcast because that would be so interesting to get their perspective on role play and how it differs from ours.
For sure. So RP in weird places, not that
Yes.
weird. I'd love to LARP. I want to LARP so badly. I don't even know where to start. But anyway, like she said, if you can't catch our shows live, there's all these different places that you can listen to it: Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Which we're gonna
iHeartRadio,
try and get these up by Friday, I believe.
Fridays. Yep.
Yes. So if you missed this episode, it should be up by Friday of that same week.
Yeah. So thank you guys for hanging out. It was
Yeah, thank
fun,
you everybody. We managed
interesting
to make it a whole
discussion.
hour.
Yeah. And we will see you all next time.
Bye guys.
Bye.